Shalom, back again on forefathers and covenants, man. So this is part 2, and now this is going to be more concerning with Isaac. So this is Genesis in chapter 21. I'm going to start from 1, but I'm going to be jumping around a bit so I can just hit the main points, just to let you know that this is concerning Isaac. And it says, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord Yahweh did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. So yeah, so you should know that we're talking about Isaac now, yeah? I'm going to jump to verse 8. And the children grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian. Our forefathers had multiple wives. Well, in this case, this woman was a concubine, a bondwoman, sex slave, shall I say, one that just bears your children. You sleep with her, she brings up your children. She's just a maid servant. That's what these other nations and heathens are to us. Yeah, their males are slaves, their women are sex slaves or midwives, just servants. That's what the other nations were created to be. Yeah, because Israel's gone to rule, man. How is you people talk about equality? Okay, but the scriptures say that Israel's going to rule, and if Israel's going to rule, who are they going to rule over? In order for you to be a king, you need subjects, you need servants. So what better idea is to be than these heathens? Yeah, read the book of Psalms 2 and 8. Scripture talks about pray to the Lord for the heathen for your possession, and Revelations 2:25, which is a cross reference. But yeah, where am I? Verse 9. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. So Abraham also had a child from an Egyptian woman, yeah, as well as Sarah. Egyptian woman she's a bondwoman. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. When it says even in Old English, I believe it means indeed with Isaac, or most definitely. So even Sarah saying, look, the other child, even though it's yours, Isaac is the heir, man. Let's look up heir. Remember, this is forefathers and covenants, man. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, not everybody, man. Not everyone's going to be saved. The nation of Israel is going to be saved. Let's look up heir. To take possession of, to inherit. What? The promises and blessings. Salvation. What word did they use there? What did I click on? Yeah, should not be heir. Hold on. Yep. You can go online, check it out. Heir, a person legally entitled to the property or rank of another on that person's death. Successor, and we're talking about forefathers, right? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Next in line, inheritor. Heir, a parent, heir, presumptive, heir at law, descendant, beneficiary, legatee, scion, a person who inherits and continues the work of a predecessor. So yeah, Isaac was the chosen heir compared to Ishmael and the other sons. Yeah? Showing you the Lord Yahweh Shemshai is only dealing with one separate line. Specific, man. Special. Yeah? So back into verse 10. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this. No, I'm at. Yeah, verse 11. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. So it kind of hurt Abraham because, like, hey, man, that's my son you're talking about. But Sarah was actually right, you know. But she was a bit, you know, too extreme. Like getting on the slave woman, trying to cast her out, I believe. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of thy lad, and because of thy bondwoman. And all that Sarah have said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. Because she was right. She was actually right. Because Isaac was, you know, even though he had feelings for the other children, Isaac was the chosen one. The Spirit of the Lord put on Sarah to say that. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. There you have it. The Lord saying, Isaac shall thy seed be called. Not in Ishmael shall thy seed be called. You see? So, yes, many nations came out of Abraham. Many nations were blessed out of Abraham. But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. The covenant, remember? 14. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread. That's it on that. You can read that for yourselves. Yeah, verse 13. And also of the son of a bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. So it's still Abraham's child. He's going to be blessed and make that child a great nation, but he's not going to have the ultimate blessings and ultimate promises that Isaac is going to have passed on to Jacob. Genesis 22, start from top, concerning Isaac again. And it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thy only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get into the land of Moriah, which is very spiritual, that we believe, you know, that Isaac, you know, was Yahushai at this time as well. You know, Yahushai being the son, because, you know, in process of time, there's reincarnation, and it's shown the same characteristics that Isaac, and that's spiritual. That's very spiritual, because Abraham had multiple sons, multiple children. But look, I don't know if you caught it, but listen to what it says. Verse 2. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac. Wait. Abraham has more children. You just witnessed Ishmael. I showed you. And he has even more than that. I'll probably show you later on. But the scripture, it says that, and I believe Ishmael was older anyway. He was the firstborn. It said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac. But he already had a son before. So that's showing you the same characteristics. You know? That because the Most High, when Yahushua was on the scene, you know, and John saw him, what did the Most High say? This is my only begotten son, whom I love, who I'm well pleased. The Most High said that about Yahushua. And we are all his children. But he's the first begotten son. Same over here. Abraham had many children. But the Most High only recognized that son as the only one. Spiritual. And not only that, he was offered as a sacrifice. Isaac was offered as a sacrifice. Same thing as Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ. He was offered as a sacrifice onto the cross. So I read that again. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave of wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which God had told him. I'm trying to get to the main point already. And Abraham said, verse 5, skip to verse 5. And Abraham said unto his young man, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go under and worship and come unto you. And Abraham took the word of a burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. So if you try and envision what was going on, Abraham took Isaac his son and was about to offer him as a sacrifice. Let's be real, they were probably talking, and Isaac was like, what's going on? We got all this the wood and stuff like that, like we're about to start a fire, about to give a sacrifice, but where's the lamb? We ain't got no lamb, no goat. What's going on, Father? You got to read in between the lines as well. So Abraham, most definitely, even though he had faith, he was still getting emotional, man, because that's his son. Let's be real, man. You will get emotional too. And Isaac spoke unto Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. Beautiful. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering? You see? So Isaac said that. Look, we got everything here. But where's the lamb? And Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And who is that? Isaac. But this was obviously a test of faith. As in the beginning verse it said, the Lord tempted, And they came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord Yahweh called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abram, Abram. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God. So it was a test of faith to see if you have faith and if you fear the Most High. You're willing to do what he says, in other words. Seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son from me. Again saying thine only son from me. Even though Abraham had many children. He's also known as what? The father of many nations. But it's still saying that that's his only son. Because that's spiritual. That's why we say that Isaac is Yahweh Shai. And also it makes sense because the covenant is only to Isaac in this moment of time, passed on to Jacob later on. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, him a ram caught in a thickest by his horn. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. Yeah, that's on that part. Go to verse 18, verse 17. But in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the sea shore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. So that don't apply to everybody. Otherwise that wouldn't make sense. So you see, the Lord is making it specific. The seed and the enemies. And enemies are multiple. Anyone that's not a part of the seed that the Lord's talking about is the enemy. Luke 1:68, we shall be saved. Israel shall be saved from their enemies. It's all prophecy for the nation of Israel. And in thy seed shall all the nations on the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Why? Which goes back to the blessings of Jacob. I believe it's Genesis 27-28. I'm going to get it later on anyway. But it talks about blessed are those that bless thee, and cursed are those that curse you. So the other nations, the heathens, will be blessed, because we're going to be in rulership, the nation of Israel. And we are, after they served their judgment for what they did to us, we have to pay them back. We have to give them a hard time, because they gave us a hard time in slavery. They enslaved us. And after that, we're going to give them lands, their own lands that they're supposed to have, their portions of blessings, and they're going to live good, because we're going to still rule over them. We're going to make the world a peaceful place, but we're going to be in rulership. Let me go to verse, hold on. Go to Genesis 23. Yeah, and just a little, Genesis 24. And this is a little bonus as well, just proving that Isaac was more special compared to the other sons. Verse 2. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, I ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven, and thy God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. You see? So, Isaac was very special, because he wanted him to have, a good wife, and a wife from same kindred. That's a little side note there. Hold on. Yeah. So this is Genesis 25. We're going to start from verse. Yeah, we'll start from the top. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. So another woman, multiple women. Yeah, did the Lord Yahweh have a problem with that? I don't see nowhere where it's written the Lord had a problem with that. Why? Because men can have multiple women, man, from any nation that they want. Same thing happened with King David, King Solomon. Yeah. But the thing is, you're not supposed to love them as like a wife of your own nation, and not to give your strength unto them. Otherwise, they turn you into their false philosophy and religions, man. That's what happened to our King Solomon. Verse 2, and she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shoah. So that's like 6 sons right there from one woman. And it goes on by the descendants. So even they had descendants. The other sons had their own descendants. The other sons. So it should start to make sense that Abraham, his name, was becoming an omen nomen, a father of many nations. Now look at this. This is what I like. Verse 5, and Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. All, substances and that, blessings. Verse 6, an inheritance. But unto the sons of her concubines, the children that he had with the other women, other than Sarah, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac, his son. He separated them from Isaac, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. Yeah, that's a little side note there, showing you that Isaac was a special son compared to the other sons that Abraham had. Furthermore, emphasizing the covenant between Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, so the next topic is going to be about Jacob. So with that, shalom.